Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Claritysoft's training webinar. Today is Tuesday, August 13th, 2019, and our topic this week is reporting basics. We will be working with the reports module in Claritysoft, and I will be showing you how to create different reports using the module. We'll work with three. One of them is a last contact audit report where we're going to search for all our contacts based upon the last contact date field and pull up a list of those people that we need to contact, get in touch with, and pull back in. We will then do an opportunities forecast or pipeline type report where we will pull up all of our opportunities that are due to close this current month and show you how to pull in the different pieces of information for that. And then the last one we'll do is an activity report, finding all the activities. We can group them per owner. The way we're going to do it is actually look at all activities for everyone and group them by the week. So we're going to look at the last 30 days and pull them up by the week, because in the reports module, you have different types of reports, one of which is a date report. So you'll learn different techniques, different ways to create the time filters, which will be the most important thing in a lot of these reports, pulling things out the way that you want in a time frame that you want to see. And hopefully while you're watching, you'll be getting ideas for other types of reports that you want to use. And just to comment, there are three ways to create reports in Claritysoft. The reports module is the basic way, and that is available to everyone no matter what level of Claritysoft you purchase with your licensing. The second way is advanced reports, which gives you a little more sophistication in the type of report that you can create and gives you some options in how you lay out the fields in the report. Instead of columnar reports, you can make more form type reports in advanced reports. You also can create labels if you wanted to create mailing labels or things like that. And then the third type of report that is the most sophisticated one and probably the one more challenging to learn are the Excel reports. And the Excel reports give you great flexibility in that you can pull data in from multiple modules and then pull it into the Excel report. You can add all kinds of formulas to do calculations when the template runs. You can create pivot tables, pivot charts, and things like that. So the Excel report is the most sophisticated one. The advanced report is second, I'd say, in complexity to learn, and gives you a little more capabilities than the reports. But your reports, for being able to create and run a quick list of things and pull it into Excel, is really easy and wonderful. And the one other last technique we'll learn is how to schedule a report. All of the reports that you create in Claritysoft can be scheduled to automatically email to someone or multiple people once a week, daily, monthly, quarterly, yearly, however you want it. And once you set that up, they just run and go. And so all you have to do is make sure the data is up to date that's being pulled into those reports. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. I will mention there is a Q&A panel in Zoom meeting if you haven't been in one before. And if you have a question, please type your question in the Q&A panel. I may not get to it right away. Sometimes I tend to leave them more towards the end, so don't get too upset if I don't answer it right away. All right, I am looking at those periodically. All right, so let's go to Claritysoft and let's get started. As I mentioned, we're working with the reports module, which all of you will have. And for the most part, unless your admin user has not given you the ability to create reports, any user in the system is able to create reports and edit them and run them. So you should have them available to you. I'm going to go to the reports module. And when you go there, you will see different groups or folders here. So there are built-in reports already there that you can run. And you can edit any of these and then save them with a different name so you preserve the original. But we have different groups of reports for each module in the database. And once you start getting some data in your database, it's nice to just go and run some of these and say, oh yeah, that works. Or I would like to add another custom field column that isn't in the generic one. And then you can start to base your reports on these. And it's a good idea to open one to edit it just to see how it's put together. And that helps you also figure out how you might want to create something for yourself. Okay, so we're going to start with contacts. And as I said, we are going to look at the last touch date. Both the account record and the contact record have a last touch date field. And this date will automatically update itself whenever you have completed an activity. And the activity would include any task or call or meeting that you've done. So for example, if I just went up here and I wanted to log a quick activity, I can go up here and say I made a call. I'll just say phone call. And it's today. I can put a note in and I save it. And then once I save the record down here, my last touch date will update itself automatically to today. So that's what that field is for. And you can't type in here and change it, but it will pay attention to the closed activities, okay? Now, emails are not included in that. They're working on that, so that may come in the future. So that's what it does. And what we want to do is pull up a list where the last touch date is greater than 30 days, 60 days. Again, you can decide. It's prior to the 30 days or the 60 days so that you can pull up a list of people and say, whoa, we haven't talked to them for a while. And then you can begin to make calls. So that's what we're going to do. And so we're going to go to reports. And you could put this into the contacts folder if you wanted, or if you prefer, you can also create your own custom folder and then put your own reports in your own folder. I'm going to create a custom folder, then that way all of these don't get too cluttered up with all the things I do in the different webinars. To do a new folder, you come up here in the upper right corner next to the new report button, click on it, and you can either create a new report or a new folder. So I'm just going to put in here folder, and then you may call it what you want. Don't put an apostrophe like Susan's reports. It won't like that in the name. And then you can put a description here as the type of reports that you're putting in that folder. So you can create any custom folder that you want. You could call it monthly reports, quarterly reports, whatever, departmental. So now I have down at the bottom my custom folder. All right. So now I'm ready to create a new report. So I'm just going to click on the button. And the first step that you have to do is you have to tell Claritysoft what module should it pull the data from. Well, I'm pulling from the contacts module. And then you click the save button. It doesn't make you give it a name yet. It's just merely making the connection to the contacts module for the report. And then you come up with this screen here where you see some different tabs. You have report type, columns, sort columns, summary, filter, and chart. So what you're going to do now is simply work your way across these tabs and fill in the information to create the report. Your first step is you must decide, well, what report type do I want? There are three: a tabular report, summary report, and a time-based report. Tabular report will merely be a list of columns. It'll be columns with rows, so records listed in rows. It's just a list. So for example, if you didn't want to group it really in any way, or like group it, you can sort it, but if you didn't want to group it, you could maybe print a list of all your accounts, maybe all your accounts that are manufacturing accounts, and you just want a list. And then you can pull out whatever fields you want. And you want to sort it by account name first and maybe state second. So that's what a tabular report would be. A summary report will take the data and actually group it. So if you wanted to print that same list of accounts, but grouped by the state, then it would have all of the accounts that are in Ohio grouped together, all the accounts that are in Michigan grouped together, and so on and so forth for all the states that you work in. So that's the difference. And then for each group, you can get subtotals of how many records are in that particular group. So we're going to create a summary report. And so we click in the circle. Then we go to columns, and this is where we choose the data columns that we want in our report. So we're going to include the account name, and what I can do is click on the left to highlight the field and click the triangle in the middle to put the field on the right-hand side into the selected columns. And I can just go down and click and then click the arrow, or I can use a little bit of a shortcut on the left where, say, I can select multiple fields at the same time. So I'm going to click on contact. Then I'm just going to hold the control key down on the keyboard with my left hand and not let go. And I'm going to click on, because this is a last contact, I want to include information for how to get in touch with them. I want the email. Oops, sorry about that. I had the control key down still because I told you to. I want the phone. I may also want their cell phone number, and maybe I might want, if you've got some custom fields, like maybe I want the industry type down here. So I can pick all of the fields that I want and then push them over to the selected column side. Then when I'm over here, I can click on a field and I can move it up and down in the position to put it in the position that I want. So the topmost column will be the leftmost column in the report, and then move to the right. So maybe I want this one first. So I've got all of those there. Then I go to group columns, and in this case, I want to group, oh, I forgot a field. I want the owner field. And then I'm going to move owner actually to the top. And I'm going to group these by the owner. So notice you can group by any field, but I want to group them by the owner so that each owner can see how many people they need to contact. Then you have a checkbox here to include total number of records. You want to click in this because what it will do then is it will give you subtotals per group. So it'll say how many records owner number one has. Owner number one has 5 and owner number 2 has 10 people to contact. So you want to click in that checkbox. If you have a data field selected that is a numeric field, then you would be able to say, well, I want a sum or an average of that value per group, but we don't. And then the summary column here, this will give you a report total or a grand total at the bottom, but we aren't using any numeric fields, so this column or this tab doesn't matter here. All right, so the next one is our filter criteria. And in all the reports that we have in Claritysoft, you have these time-based filters, which are really great because you don't put in a fixed date range. What you usually want is your date to roll forward from month to month, from week to week, from year to year. And so we have the time-based filters that allow you to do that. So first of all, you click here and you select the date that you want to use as your basis. Well, we want the last touch date. So we're saying the last touch date. And down here, you have different comparisons. This 1 month or quarter would mean, well, I want the last touch date to be in this month. Well, I don't want that. I want to be backwards, so that one doesn't do it. Last would look at the last month only, okay, or the last 2 months or the last 3 months. Well, that could work. Obviously, we don't want to go forward. This is forward as well, but the one we really want here is prior to. We want prior to either 1 month, or we can put 30 days or 60 days, whatever you want. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put in 60 days. So that's going to start from today backwards 60 days, okay? Tomorrow it'll go backwards 60 days. So you could do 60, 75. Again, you would decide how far back people should be keeping up. If 30 days is what you do, then that's what you do. So you set your time-based filter, and then the standard filter lets you create another filter on any other field. In this case, we don't want any other filter, so we're going to leave that one blank. And now is when I have to save my report. So I'm going to click Save. It will prompt me for a name. Let's do this. Now, it's kind of a long name, but I tend to like to put the title of the report explaining what the report is pulling out. I don't want to just say activity report or last contact report. I want to know what it is. So I tend to type long names for these so that when I look a list of 20 reports, I know which one I want. And then down here, I'm going to put it in my folder that I created and click Save. Now you could put this in the description too, but I tend to like it in the title. So you may do what you like. So once we have the report, we come back here to our folder and I can click on the report name to run the report. The first thing it's going to do is give me a preview here. So this gives you the general layout of the report with your fields that you have selected. And so you can glance and see, and this is helpful too, because sometimes you get nothing. So you might have to go back and reset your filter. So you get this, you preview it, and then what you want to do is you want to download it to either Excel, CSV, or a PDF file. I usually go to Excel, so you click on that. And then in the lower left corner, you will have your button to open your file. And there is your report. So your title is up here at the top. Now this is an Excel file, so from here, you would do a save as, and you could save it anywhere you want. Somebody's asking me, if an account has never been touched, will they show up? Well, this is interesting here. I forgot to put in a very important field in my report. I did not put in the last touch date field. So, and this happens, you view the report and then you say, oh, shoot, I forgot something. And that's a really important field. And we're going to go back now because I did this on purpose because I want to show you how to edit the report. To answer your question, they will not show up. So it's only going to put, unless you put in the standard filter that the last touch date you could put in there could be empty. We'll have to think about that. So we'll think about that. Okay, so you can see here this is grouped by user. And Bill Miller has one person that he needs to get in touch with, and Jacqueline has one. So it gives you the subtotal per group. And then at the bottom, it tells us we have a total of 14 records of everybody. Okay, so it shows us our information. Now let's go back and edit our report. So what you do is you go back to your report, you click on the row action button, the 3 stack lines, then you go to edit. It will bring you back into the report definition. Now notice it skips the report type because it assumes you're going to keep the same report type, but you may change it. So if you want to change it to a tabular report from a summary report, you may. And then other things will have to be reset. But the one thing I want to add is the last touch date field so that is in here, okay? And then I can see when it was. Now, we've got the last touch date prior to 60 days, so that means that the field has to have something in it in order to show up. Now you could perhaps create another one where you're going to have the last touch date, maybe not even put a time filter in it, just come here and say the last touch date field is empty. And then that would pull up your list of where the account has never been touched. So I think probably the best thing would be just create another report where there's been no contact, and don't use the time filter because you don't care when it is. And then just say that the last touch date field is empty, and that will pull up a list of never been touched people. Okay, so let me save this. And then I'll go down here and run it again. Okay, I did click on it, right? There it is. Nope. Sometimes I think my mouse doesn't click. There we go. So I've added the last touch date column over here. So these will indeed have something in them. And then I can download to Excel. So this gives my sales team a little more information in when they did last touch the person. Now the data in this database is pretty old, as you can see, because this goes all the way back to 2018, where a lot of people haven't talked to anybody since then. This is actually when this sample database was created. So that's there. And then if we open our Excel file, we will then see we now have the last touch date. So then the person knows how long ago it was. Here's one. Well, this is over June a year ago. So these are all really old. So hopefully none of yours would be that old, but you get the idea of how you can pull that out and set the time frame that you want to go back and pull out the fields that you want to see. All right. So let's move on. The next report we want to do has to do with opportunities. And what we want to do in the opportunities module is we want to pull out all the opportunities that have a close date of this month. And actually that filter that you see there right now is showing us that. And this is a suggestion that I have for all of you. Before you run a report, go to the module where you want to pull the data from and run a filter that is what you want to see. And just make sure, first of all, you're going to get the records that you want, and then you can really pre-test your filter before you go build the report. And it makes it easier. So in your columns here, you can go to the vertical ellipsis button in column settings, and you can pull the columns over that you want to see in the report. And so you can view those, especially if they're things that you're going to group by or filter on, pull those over, and then you can create a filter that says, all right, I want to see all of the opportunities where they're active opportunities. Well, in Claritysoft, an active opportunity is one that's not won, not lost, and not no decision. And then you want to group them by maybe the sales stage. So you want to pull them out by the sales stage, and then you set your time filter for the range that you want. So if you test everything in the opportunity module, then you know when you go to the report what you're going to get or what you should get. So for example, if I said here, okay, I want the close date for this current month, so this 1 month for August, and search, these are all the ones I get. Well, I'm also getting, I see the ones that are 1. I don't want those. So see, by testing it, I see, oh, I need to go back and edit the filter and say, don't include these. So we'll do that in the report. So if you run it here, it just gives you kind of a preview ahead of time. Yes, you can do the same for quotations. Any of the modules, you can do that, all right? So you just go to any module and use your advanced search and pull it up and view it before you go to reports. So now we know what we need to do. So let's go to reports, new report. This time I'm going to select the opportunities module. Now, notice here there's opportunities and opportunity details. Opportunities means you're going to pull those fields that are in the opportunity record, only the fields in the main record. Opportunity details will give you the ability to pull the product and services item fields, line item fields in. Some of you may or may not be using that, but if you are and you wanted to get reports that included the products and services line item information, then you would use opportunity details. And note you have the same thing for quotes, quote details, sales, and sales details, okay? Well, we're not doing anything with products and services, so we're going to just pick opportunities, save to make the connection. Again, we're going to do a summary report, and what we want to do for our columns is we want account, and I'm holding the control key down again, amount, close date, contact. I want the owner. I want the stage, which is the sales stage, and I want the opportunity name. And then again, if you have custom fields down here, like I don't remember if any of these are filled in, but we can pick any custom field that we want, or maybe you want territory. You will know, you pick what you want. So I'm going to throw all these over here, and then I want to put them in the order in which they want them. So I'm put amount at the bottom, and I want to put the contact up here, maybe the opportunity name next. And I'm going to group these by the sales stage. So I'm going to put it at the top of the list. And maybe we'll do this. Okay, we'll work with that. All right. And then grouping columns, I'm going to, as I said, do the stage. You could group it by the owner. So again, you could create one report, then open it and change the grouping and the way the fields are, and then do a save as and save it and group it by the owner. Or you could group it by a territory or whatever category field you want to group by. And now notice we do have a numeric field in our amount. And so I'm going to get the sum and the average. And I'm going to click here. And then the summary of columns, this will give me the total at the bottom for the whole report. Filter criteria, we're going to do the close date as we tested this 1 month, okay? But then I need to come over here to the standard filter and say that the stage, and I can say either not equal to or not contains. If your stage has one contract in it and you don't remember exactly how it's spelled, but you know the word one is in it, then you could do not contains. And as long as you type something that is in that stage name, you're good. Now, we would probably also want to include a filter here for stage does not contain lost, and stage does not contain no decision if you have those to make it perfect, okay? But I'm not going to do that right now. Okay, so we've got that set. And then chart, we're going to add a chart. This is kind of cool that you can add these charts to your reports. Well, we're grouping the report by stage, but we could have the chart show the data by owner. So I'm going to set my x-axis to owner and my y-axis to the amount. And then you select the function. What do you want? We want the sum of all the opportunities, the amounts for that person. Then you choose your chart type, and I'll do a column chart. And then you choose the position of the chart, at the top of the report or at the bottom of the report. I tend to like it at the top. And then you can say create a new sheet in the workbook, but I like to have it on the same sheet, so I put no here. And then save it. Okay. 20. There it is. So opportunities. Whoops, let me do this. By stage, close this month. Okay, and again, I'm going to put this in my folder and save it. Go back here, run the report. So you can see here, it's grouping it by the stage. It's showing me the information that I've asked to bring it in, and I'm going to download it to Excel. I can see that my industry type field needs filled in. So I have a choice, either go back to the records and make sure it's filled in or remove the column from the report. So here we go. Opportunities by stage closed this month. So here we have all our people, and let me zoom this in a little bit for you guys. There's never the one I want. There, that makes it a little easier to see. So we can see our people, see the amount per person, and then you have your chart for that. But then down here, it shows you what stages the different ones are at. And then you can see who the owner is and what the amount is and the close date. So all of these have a close date of sometime in August. Now, what will happen with this report as soon as it becomes September the 1st, then September is now this month. And so it will just roll forward with you and then show you all the things in September. So what you could do is you could create two of these. You could have one that is showing you all of the opportunities for the current month, and you could have a second one showing you all the opportunities for the next month. So that then you're always looking at this month's current pipeline, and you have a second report for next month's pipeline or the next 2 months. So you can choose, next 1 month, next 2 months, next 3 months, whatever you want. And then you're looking at your report that way. So the time filters make it really nice to be able to control that, because then you can forget about it. It just, wherever you are, the time filters are going to calculate correctly. If you put fixed dates in, then you have to constantly go in and update those dates. All right, so you can see here we have, for each group, we have the total, the subtotal, and the average, okay? And let's see if we've got one here. Like here's one where we have a sum of 36,000 and an average of 9. So it gives you that. And then at the bottom, this is your grand total for all of your opportunity values, and then the average, that your average opportunity right now is about $8,900, okay? So again, that can be saved and sent to people as needed. But I'm going to show you something a little bit. One more report to do. Okay, so the last report we're going to do is an activities report. And we're going to look at the activities that were done by people for the last 30 days. And I'm just extending it out 30 days. You would probably do something like last week, where you could get a weekly activity report sent to you on Monday morning, or if you're the salesperson, you put all your activities in Claritysoft all week, make sure they're all completed, and then you have an activity report that runs and emails your sales manager that report, so it's in his or her email box on Monday morning. And so all you have to do is make sure you've completed your activities, put in all your notes, and then that report runs and you're done, because it will just run every week automatically. So that's what we're going to do now, is we're going to create the report and then have it automatically email. And the same thing could be done with a pipeline report too, with the opportunities. You could do a report of your own opportunities, put yourself in the filter, and then have it email whoever needs to see it on a weekly basis. So there's all kinds of ways you can use this. All right, we're going to create a new report. And this time we're going to connect to the activities module. Save. And I'm going to do a time-based report this time, because this one's kind of interesting to do. You don't think about doing it a whole lot, but in activities it works. So we're going to do a time-based report. For our columns, we are going to choose account, activity type, assigned to, completed date, the contact person. Let's see, what else do we want here? Subject line. I want that. And then the other field that you can bring in, and this depends, I suppose, on how your company works and what people want to see. But in all your activities, you do have a notes field. And so you could bring that in if you wanted to. Now, where you have to be cautious on that, if you are saving emails back to Claritysoft, then when you pull in the notes, if emails are included in the activities, then you might get giant, blocks of text in the report. So you might want to create two different activity reports. One that includes notes but excludes emails, okay, so you don't get cluttered up with all the email text. And then another one that doesn't have the notes column, but then does include emails, so then they can see, well, just how many emails did you send, within the database. So that would be what I would suggest. So I'm going to pull this in and show you how to exclude the emails. So we're going to do group columns. Now this will be interesting because this is a time-based report. It's asking us how do we want to group, by the day, the week, the month, the quarter, or the year. Well, we're going to go back 30 days. So I'm going to group it by the week. And then again, we do not have a numeric column, but I'm going to click here to get a count of the number of activities. And this one we won't use, summary of columns. And then our filter criteria is going to be completed date. And I'm going to go back. You could go back 4 weeks. You could go back 1 month. I'm going to go back 30 days. Okay, so whatever you want to do. All right. And then to keep emails from coming in, what you would do here is go to the standard filter and say activity is either not equal to or does not contain email. And that will take away the email clutter. Okay, so let's save this. All right. So here we have it, the week of July 3rd, or here's week 3, week 4, and then it goes into August. So this is going, I did it the last 30 days, I didn't say last month. So you can see it's going back the 4 weeks or the 30 days from where we are right now. So that would be a difference. If I had said last month, then it would only look at July and it would not include August. So again, you can say, I don't know which way I want it. And if you don't want it this way, you can go back and change the filter. But let's download this and take a look at it. That's what's nice about these. They're so quick and easy to create and run that editing them is very, very simple. You just go make changes and rerun it and see what you get. So here we go. So you can see it's grouped by week, shows you how many were done in week 3 of July, week 4 of July, so on and so forth. And then it does pull in the notes. Now these notes are pretty short. And that's why I say you want to exclude the emails, because sometimes the emails you save back to Claritysoft are 5 or 6 messages that you've been going back and forth with, so they can get really cluttery over here and it distorts the actual data in the report for somebody to look at. All right, so that's that one. And let's just do real quick, since we have some time here, Let me edit this one. And let's do this. I'm going to do this by person, and I'm going to remove the notes. Okay. And then, I want to change the report type. I'm going to make it a summary report. So my fields are still here. Now my group column, I'm going to group it by the assigned to, which essentially is the owner. We don't need this. And then here are, notice it kicked the date out on my filter because it doesn't know what I want to do here. So I have to come and do this. And let's say we're still going to do completed date and the last 30 days. Well, let's maybe do this. Let's do last 1 month, and then you'll see the difference. So this will pick up everything that was completed last month. All right. And then here, I want to clear this one. I want emails included this time because I don't have the notes. All right. And then I grouped it by assigned to. Okay. And then if I do save as, I can just, oh, look, it remembered. All right. So now I did a save as, so I have another report. So that's why it's nice. You can take an existing report, make changes to it, and just do a save as. So here, I'm the only person who did anything, but here's, you can see the difference now where without the notes, and here it brought in an email, okay? So that would be the difference, that you don't get all the clutter of the email text, but you find out, the person might have sent out 50 emails, where in the other report where we're excluding the emails, you wouldn't know they did all that work. So that's why you may want that notes field is sort of iffy whether you include it or not in the reports. Okay, so let's say you've got a report. Now the other way we could edit this, for those of you that might be individuals who have to create your own activity report, you wouldn't necessarily need the assigned to here. No, you would want it because it would have your name in it. So you would want that. You'd want all of this. Now, the way we could do this, instead of doing a summary report, we could go back to the time-based ones, so that if you were going back 30 days, 60 days, you could say, well, per day I did these activities. You could do it that way with the time-based. So let's change that. Columns are the same. Group the columns by day. And then the filter criteria is completed date. We'll say last 1 month. Ooh, let's say last 30. Well, we'll do last 30 days. Okay, and then what you'd want to do to get the report to be for you is you would come here and select the assigned to, and then put contains, and then if I typed in Susan Arnold, I don't have to type my full name, but there's another Susan in the list. And then I'll just do a save. I won't change the name this time. And then when I run it, it is going to pull it up where it's a date. Let's go to Excel so we see what it really looks like. So here we go. This is work going by day. So on the 15th, I did 3 activities. On the 16th, I did 2. So this would break it up by date. Notice I did a whole lot of work on the 11th because I was trying to get activities in here for the reports today. So this would give you, in a sense, a daily report of all the activities you did per day. So you could do it weekly, daily, whatever you want over the time span, and it would only be you. So in the name of the report would be activities, weekly activities by Susan Arnold or something, or Susan Arnold weekly activities. And so that would be your report. Now here's the cool thing. You get that done and designed, or somebody else does it for you. You come here to this vertical or the row action button, go to schedule, and say, I want this to send weekly or monthly, however often you need to turn these in. So it repeats every week. It goes out on Monday. It starts on, we'll say next Monday, the 19th. Never is going to end. And the report format is either Excel, PDF, or CSV. And then in here, you put in the email address or multiple email addresses of those people who should receive that report every Monday morning. And what these do is they usually go out shortly after midnight. So as soon as it's Monday morning, so right after midnight on Sunday, they process and they go. So all you have to do is make sure that your, oh, would help if I type this. Activities are all completed for the week, and all your notes are done and everything's good. So once you schedule a report, you'll notice there's a little clock next to it to indicate that that report is scheduled. So you can schedule any report to run however often you want, and as long as the data is there and the data is correct, a person gets that report and you don't have to generate that anymore. All right, so that's everything I have for today. Hopefully it gave you some ideas. All the modules have reports, so you can create the same type of reports in any of the modules if you want to run a weekly report of all the quotes that have been sent out or that you've created or whatever. So sales, the same way, just use the same type of format, but point to the sales module instead of the opportunities module. And again, you can include any of your custom fields in there. You can group by your custom fields. If you have a territory field, you can group by territory. Go for it, whatever you need. And this is usually a big question we ask you when you're in implementation. What are the reports you need out of Claritysoft? Because that indicates to your implementation person what fields you need in Claritysoft to be able to do it. Well, hopefully I've given you some hints and tips and you've got some ideas. We had a really good crowd today, so thank you for attending. And let me go to my final slide here just to give you the, here we go, technical support information if you need it. If you need any help with anything and you're out of your implementation or quick start, then you can call support at 888-838-7487 extension 2, or email them at support@claritysoft.com and they will get back with you. And then ideas for future topics, please send us ideas at info@claritysoft.com, and then we would be happy to incorporate new types of things in here. We're always looking for new ideas for topics. And it's middle of the month for August, so we're getting ready to think of September. So now is the time to send us your thoughts. All right, with that, I will let you go. Thank you so much for attending and have a wonderful rest of your day.